What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. So in previous videos I have gone over what I think is the best ways, some of the best ways to make MT, what I think some of the best cards to invest in are. Because one thing, for me anyway, I cannot just sit there and snipe. I'm a person that just can't do that, so the way I like to make MT is by investments. And also, if you do want to make MT by playing the game, obviously Triple Threat Online is the best way of going about that. But yeah, so in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys how not to waste MT and what players, like obviously most people want to have the best team every single minute of the day or every single day of the year and constantly just feel like no one will outclass them in terms of team-wise. But if you want to consistently have that, you're either going to have to spend a hell of a lot of time in the game. By a hell of a lot of time, I mean 5 to 10 hours a day. Or you are going to have to put a hell of a lot of money in the game. But one thing I've noticed, especially with kind of the locker codes that have been coming out, with how easy it is to invest in certain players, make a bit of MT, like I don't put that much time onto this account. Like it's been a lot. It has been a lot of hours over the course of the year. But I probably put in the amount of time on this account as an average person does, because as much as it looks like I'm getting a load of videos out, most of the time on this account most of my time is editing and stuff, and I still have my PC account, which was my main account until that got banned. So basically, this was a secondary account for a long time, and I'm going to be telling you guys, again, what is the best way to not be wasteful, and what are the types of players that you guys should be looking for. So first of all, what my tip for everyone is keep your team as cheap as possible while also being at a level that you think you can win at. So for example, if you guys have at the 2-guard position, let's just say you've got Dwayne Wade. Let's say you have Dwayne Wade as your 2-guard, and let's see what price he goes for. So I'm guessing he's probably the second most expensive 2-guard after, yeah, so 200k for Dwayne Wade. And you're thinking, oh yeah, great, he's a really good card. As I've said in one of my other videos, someone like a Stephenson, who is less than 5k MT, I don't know what price he is, he's going to give you 90% of what Dwayne Wade gives you. Got Dimer, got some insane badges, got a great shooting. So even though Wade is that little bit better, honestly, I think that it's probably better off using someone like a Stephenson, because the thing is that while if you can't win a game with Stephenson, you're not confident in winning with Stephenson, upgrading Stephenson to Dwayne Wade is not going to make a difference. I'm telling you that right now. That type of upgrade is not going to make a difference. If you, at the point guard position, so if you guys are running with, say, as much as I like Gilbert Arenas, as much as I like D Rose, honestly, replacing either of them with Jeremy Lin, not going to make that much of a difference once you get Lin up to diamond. Will it make a difference? Yes. Much of a difference? No. Certain players, if you guys like to use really tall point guards like Simmons and Magic, it's hard to downgrade on them specific players. But again, there are certain players that, like, for me anyway, I can't really do without. And there is a certain time where you're like, okay, you have to kind of splash with MT. But one of those players is Giannis. So it's just like having your MT. Like, again, buying all the Giannis players, doing the challenges, and then selling them all, you're not going to lose much MT on that. It's about 300k, I think. And then you sell it back, and worst case scenario, you've lost 30k. You still have 200 and something MT. You still have about 270k MT after tax, and then suddenly you've got a Giannis card who's almost irreplaceable. But certain cards in the game, you can always replace them with either cheaper alternatives, or you can grind up some alternatives for not even heavy grind, or you can go and do some spotlight challenges to get better players. I know the spotlight challenges are a little bit tricky, so the only one that I would suggest as a must is probably Giannis. But yeah, so if I'm talking about the best squads in the game, you're looking at the small forward position, you're looking at the likes of Kawhi and Jimmy Butler. At the 2-guard, you're looking at probably Dwayne Wade and T-Mac. T-Mac is a really good card, so I'm not going to necessarily say anyone shouldn't have him in their squad, or if they want to get the Opal, I wouldn't say anyone shouldn't have Dwayne Wade in the squad if they want to get the last Opal. But there are a bunch of cards that you can definitely downgrade that aren't going to make a difference. So again, at the point guard position, as you guys can see here, I'm running with Waiters and Lin. I think Waiters and Lin I think Waiters is better than any point guard you can buy except for the Giants. Like, if you're I think Waiters is better than Gilbert Arenas. I don't know why, I just think he is. And I also think he's better than Derrick Rose. So Again, for me anyway, this is why I'm doing it. So obviously, once I go and get my Brandon Roy, because that's why I have Kawhi and Melo in the team. That's 300k, and then I'll be selling a Sol and stuff. As I've always said in my other videos, will replace Kawhi Leonard with, obviously, Brandon Roy will go in there, and I'll be replacing Carmelo Anthony with, what's his name, Landry Fields. And Landry Fields is basically gives you 95% of what Kawhi gives. Again, if you can't win with if you think that upgrading or downgrading Kawhi to Landry Fields is going to make your team significantly worse, I'm telling you it's not. It'll make it slightly worse, not significantly. And obviously Brandon Roy is incredible. So I don't think I'll be losing anything in my squad. Plus, I'll have the guts of 400k sitting in my collection once I sell all these Jeremy Lin players. And I've also got a lot of other players. So that is what I kind of like to do. And now I'm going to be telling you when to buy certain cards and when to and what specific cards you should buy and should not buy. Because let's be real, not everybody is going to have the exact same attitude as me, and not everybody is going to want to see, like, a lot of people play for names. So regardless of how good cards are, a lot of people are going to see someone like Jason or Rich Jefferson and be like, oh, don't really want to use him. They're going to see Lance Stephenson and be like, actually don't want to use him, or Terrence Davis. I'd much rather use, I don't know. Someone's going to say, I don't like Terrence Davis. I'd much rather run with Kyrie Irving because they like Kyrie Irving in real life, even though Terrence Davis is way better than Kyrie. And for those type of, I know there are enough of those type of players. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Whatever you have fun doing, you should do. But again, this is just my tips, just to be a little bit more economically sound. So again, players that you should not buy for big, or you should buy if you want to pay big MT. So if you really are set on paying big MT for players, the players you should buy are the ones that lock in for elite cards. So look, I get it. T-Mac packs came back last week, or it came back the weekend. But still, even with T-Mac packs, if you wait a couple of days, he's suddenly going up for 400k again. So he's actually barely gone down in price. Derrick Rose is still over 300k. John Stockton is obviously a buyout. He's not expensive. I don't think Will's that expensive because he was in the locker code. Nope. And Duncan is expensive as well. So like, if you really want to, Duncan's really expensive. So if you really want to use some higher overall cards that lock in for good players are not bad options. So example, these guys right here, most of the spotlight players. So like Kawhi Leonard is all of a sudden going, as you can see, 167k. I paid 130k for mine. I get it. I'm probably making a bit of a loss paying I paid 180 for Melo because these guys are out of packs and they're still really sought after. So if a card is going to be really sought after and a lot of people have them in their collections because they lock in, it means that they're always going to have a little bit of value. However, and these guys, if you do want to spend a lot of MT on them, are not the worst idea in the world. I know I said you can probably downgrade Dwayne Wade for, for Lance Stephenson. And I think that now is not the right time to buy a player like Dwayne Wade. The right time to buy one of these players is right before the 5th one of these comes out. They're going to release Prime Series 2 Super Packs. And that is the best time to buy these. But again, these are not bad cards to have, because you can either lock in for an elite card, or you can hold on to them, and they're not going to go down too much in price. However, I do think very, very soon, and I think that that this card right here, the Lance Stephenson, kind of shows that it's the beginning of the end. When 2K start to release elite budget cards that are as good as God Squad cards. Because Lance Stephenson is literally a pink diamond. Like, he's literally has the stats and badges of a pink diamond. And he is like 3k MT. And I think every time 2K release, the next time they release Spotlight Series 3, which I actually would not be surprised if it doesn't happen, because microtransactions, even with more players in my team, even with more game sales, microtransactions are down. So hence why they got rid of Moments of the Week and brought back Moments cards. I would not be surprised to not see a Spotlight Series 3. Fingers crossed, they're the best thing. They're one of the best things about my team. But fingers crossed we see it. But it's unlikely. It's unlikely. The only thing 2K cares about is us opening packs and money. So I do not see that happening. And again, some Frostbite players, like Antoine Walker, has already gone way up in price. As you guys can see, he was 10k MT, he's gone up. And certain other cards like Oladipo's gone up. Anthony Davis gone up. So these guys, or Anthony Davis hasn't gone down that much. So these guys are not the worst investments in the world to make because they lock in for good players. And the players to not buy are these type of players. These prime VIP players for a lot of MT. Shaq will only go down in price. He'll either only go down in price, or if he doesn't go down in price, there will be better alternatives. Jimmy Butler, as great as the card is, I think for 80k MT, he is an absolute steal. Like an absolute steal. I still think he's going to go down in price because he doesn't lock in for anything. So what happens when a new card comes in that's better than Jimmy Butler? Jimmy Butler is going to go down in price, and people are going to be selling their Jimmy Butlers. And he has no reason to remain high in price because he doesn't lock in for anything. So if you look at Prime Series 1, if you're looking at Prime VIP, these normal cards here, Yao Ming has gone down in price. Kevin Love, these guys, again, are really cheap in price. Kevin Love was up to 40k at one stage. These guys, there's no reason for people to buy these cards, so they're constantly going down in price. Again, Boogie hasn't gone down too much, but he's still gone down. Paul George was like 160, 170k only 3 or 4 weeks ago. And if this card was in a set that locked in, he'd go for a lot more. But again, he's 50k MT. He's not worth 50k MT, but that's his price. Because again, there is no reason for this card to be there's no reason for people to have this card because there's better alternatives. Like if you're looking for Paul George, Jimmy Butler is a much better alternative. So again, Jimmy comes out, and I'm pretty sure Paul George was like 60, 70k. Jimmy comes out, he's a way better version of Paul George, and Paul George drops in price. And that is the problem. So again, and again, another one, Lance Stephenson comes out. Lance Stephenson, I can guarantee you, that card alone is a big reason why this guy right here is now barely over 10k MT. So Eddie Johnson, yeah, I know you guys are seeing 25k MT there, but I saw one of him up earlier for 9,500 MT. So look, Eddie Johnson does not, like 11k. This guy's now 11k MT. He was 40, 50k 3 weeks ago. And it's because 2K are releasing more and more great cheap players. There's nothing to be gained by having Eddie Johnson in your collection because nobody really uses him anymore because there's better, cheaper alternatives. And people are just undercutting. And now Eddie Johnson's become one of the best cheap players in the game. So, again, I'm going to put this in some bullet points now. But, in my opinion, the best way to not be wasteful with your MT and to keep MT. 1, make sure your team is as cheap as possible while still being fun and good enough to win with. So again, do not make stupid downgrades. So for example, if you want to downgrade Kawhi Leonard to Jared Jeffries or to Landry Fields, that's fine. If you want to downgrade Kawhi Leonard to someone that you've locked in like a token or someone like a token reward like Isaiah Ryder, that's fine. If you want to downgrade, say like a Derrick Rose to one of these guys, that is perfectly fine. However, if you want to downgrade your Kawhi Leonard to, let me see, Tyler Hero, that's not going to work. If you want to downgrade him to Allen Houston or Michael Redd, you're going to be in for a bad time. So you got to know who you're going to be downgrading your players to and who the best cheap players are at all times. Before you make any reckless decisions, make sure you know what types of players you are putting in for the high overall players. There is cheap alternatives to everyone that are 99% or probably 95% as good as the expensive cards that are 1/20th, 1/30th of the price for every single position in this game. You just got to know who they are. Also, if you are, like everyone is going to spend some money on expensive players, it happens. Make sure that it is always on a card that locks in for something. Like I know the Flash players are a little bit tricky, but again, these lock in for something. Nothing great, so Flash Series 1's not too bad, but again, Flash Pack 2, these guys don't lock in for anything. So Danny Granger is one that is kind of, actually he's gone up a little bit in price, but because of rarity and how good he is, but some of these guys do go down in price. So I can guarantee you we're going to get a Flash Super Pack, and while these guys have gone up in price, they're going to go down at some stage. But again, they are in promo sets. Players that you should not ever spend big MT in: moments cards, because while they might go up slightly, they're not going to consistently go up, and there's going to be a stage where they all go down in price. Also, cards that don't lock in, like the Prime VIP series. Fair enough buying the cheap ones, they're some of the best cheap cards in the game. Do not expect the Prime VIP series cards to go up. Obviously, if legacies come back, any of these legacy players that don't lock in for anything, and yeah, that is pretty much it. So if a card doesn't lock in for anything, do not invest in it. Trust me. Or not, do not put big MT in it. So yeah, that is pretty much it. My tactic is always keep the team as cheap as possible and try and minimize the big spending. But again, if you guys do want big spending, make sure you know what types of players. Like if you guys wanted to spend big on Melo and Kawhi for about at least for another month, I don't think Super Pack's going to come out. You should be fine. But again, it is always a risk, and the more MT you have in a player, the more risk for depreciation there is. But anyway, yeah, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.